Good morning and good afternoon, everybody. I want to thank you for being here. And the first thing I want to do is welcome you. And I'm looking at the count. There's approximately 400 people here. And I know there's that many because there's actually 20 groups that are logged onto this call together. So, welcome. That means there's 400 people on this call that are interested in becoming part of this big change to our industry called AI. And it is going to have far-reaching implications to our industry. This is actually going to be the last time that our leaders and managers are going to be um, managing and leading a human-only crew of people. It's now going to be a hybrid crew of people. So when I explain that to people, especially in my meetings, the first thing that comes across their face is some have a look of fear and concern, and others are curious to see where that's going to go. And then there's others that are really excited about it and want to embrace the change. So I want to say it doesn't really matter how we feel because this is happening, and we really do need to take on the excited approach, whereas we need to uh, embrace the change, rise to the occasion, adjust and adapt, and meet it head on. And that's what NCM is going to do. We're going to figure out how to adjust and adapt, make it work for us, and make it work for our membership. Because at the core, that's what NCM is really all about. It's helping each other succeed. So I want to go back to the people that had some fear and some concerns. You're going to be okay. AI is really only going to add to our workforce, and it's going to be taking over sections that are repetitive and redundant, and they're doing things that we aren't interested in doing anymore. So it's going to put those people where they belong, which is customer facing and where they can innovate in a face-to-face manner with our customers and our guests. To those of you that are curious, wow, this thing's going to take you in directions you've never even thought of. And the ones that are excited about this and have already joined the group, you're going to be a part of the curve. You're not going to be chasing it. You're going to be shaping the way AI affects our industry yourselves. So I'm excited to see where this thing really goes. I want to cover the topics with you. So I've renamed our table of contents the table of topics. I want you to meet the team because we have a team in place. I want to talk to you about the group and the dynamics of the group. Uh, we're going to have dates already aiming at. We have a 20 group. Why a 20 group? There's curriculum involved. There's agenda topics. There's hot topics and challenges and best ideas. I've got a dynamic speaker lined up for this call. There's going to be registrations, questions, and takeaways. So the first thing I want to do is I want to talk about the team. And before I introduce you to the team, I want to thank the team. This isn't something that we just came up with a week ago and we decided, hey, let's start a 20 group. Uh, it took a lot to even get to this point. So first thing is a little bit about myself. I'm going to be the moderator, which means I'm going to moderate the group, but I also have to find the talent and curate the talent for the group. And that is a heavy lift. We're going to have a deep bench. Na Tran is the manager of the moderators. She holds us all accountable. The good thing about working for Na is she holds herself to a higher degree of accountability. So she's always a pleasure to work for, and she makes sure that the meetings get the experience they expect out of NCM. Leanne, Jared, Carolyn, Corey, and Jason, all you folks behind the scenes are the ones that make these meetings happen and keep them professional and keep our membership's expectations high and us meeting them at every point. So I want to thank the team for that. And with a team like that, we already have dates in mind. So we're aiming right now at March the 10th through the 11th. And we feel that for 20 group meetings, two is better, three is best. So the cadence is to have three a year. And so you're probably wondering, why a 20 group? And I already have a 20 group, but you're not going to have a 20 group like this. As I've gone out and talked to industry leaders and industry experts, developers, and AI owners, they're all saying the one thing is that we need to develop curriculum, we need a syllabus, we need to raise the learning and the knowledge of people that are coming into the AI industry. So the first thing is you're going to know where you stand. You're going to be in relation to others with the same issues and challenges. You guys are going to develop and collaborate on solutions together. You're going to learn together. And there is just nothing like peer-to-peer exercises where you're sitting shoulder to shoulder, building your AI chops with like-minded people who want to learn and want to be the curve and stop reacting to it and stop chasing it. The early members and the original members, you're going to be protected by 20 group laws because you're going to be writing the rules and writing the laws. And in short, all of the innovation and visions that you're coming up with, in short, it's going to be what you create here, who you see here, and what you hear here stays within the group. I don't have a 20 group that I think that doesn't want to increase efficiency. And efficiency to them is through collaboration, is learning how to make faster decisions, making the right decisions, and making the best decisions in the fastest possible way. It's exciting for me because I'm getting guest speakers and educators and industry owners of AI groups that are going to come out and help us discover where AI is going next. So that's why a 20 group is going to be the best format for that. In a 20 group, agendas and agenda topics are the king. So these are what drive the group and what drive the outcome-driven discussions, the commitments. So these are agenda topics that have come from our survey, that have come from current AI groups that aren't AI concentric, and what are the different AI systems? And so most groups right now are dealing with large language models and don't know the differences between a native system or a proprietary system. And they're wanting to know what the different tools are and vendors. And one member recently expressed vendors, vendors, vendors. I've got so many vendors, I don't know what decision to make. Well, the best thing about a 20 group is you're going to know which AI is right for your business. You're going to know which jobs, positions, and departments can be automated. You're going to learn how to create agents, and boy, your guest speaker is really going to take you through that. You're going to learn what the risks and the rewards are. The rewards are far outweigh the risks. Training and development. On January the 3rd, I'll be entering my 33rd year in the car industry, and we're still talking about, can our sales management teams please go out and train our sales and service teams? And we don't have to worry about that anymore. AI already has certification and training systems for both service advisors and service and sales associates. We're using it deeply in our digital marketing departments. You're going to learn how to do AI budgeting, vendor management. There's going to be increased learning, innovation, and future technologies are going to come to light within the group. And finally, you're going to have a way to benchmark and track what AI is doing for your businesses. So hot topics and challenges are a great part of any 20 group. And I'll say this, the thing that makes them even more compelling is when you can find a place within the composite, you can tie it to a benchmark, and you can actually track it. So these are some topics that have come out of our meetings. How do I deal with my aging inventory and demand fluctuations? And can AI help me predict and optimize pricing and trends and reduce costs and improve my turnover rate and my inventory turn rate? And how do I keep my marketing spend lower and my conversion rates higher? All things that are coming out of our groups right now that this group is going to focus on specifically. And department efficiency, there's a best idea that came out of how do I How do I absolutely miss or help my missed upsells and shorten my cycle times? And how can AI help me with my turnover and my training? And I have a friend who is in the corporate department at T-Mobile, and they have their own proprietary AI system because they don't want to be the next CDK, and it does nothing but orbit their system and their network looking for vulnerabilities. And out of all hot topic sessions always comes innovation and best ideas. So I'm going to give a shout out to my friend Mike Farrell, who is a big Honda dealer in New Hampshire. And in the last meeting I was at with him, he was able to show me how he deployed a robotic delivery system between the parts department and the service bays. And this robot puts 1.7 miles to 2.3 miles a day, delivers tires and parts between parts department and the service bays, doesn't engage in who won the ball game or airing of grievances and festuvuses. It just delivers parts. And he was able to show me, he says, my tech efficiency is increasing, and that's actually in your composite, and we can now track that. Another group is doing real-time used car pricing, where they have, and it's an agentic drill, and they have agents that are looking in their market constantly for changes in pricing, and now they are sometimes multiple times a day adjusting their prices. Automated monthly parts inventories, sales and service training, and continuous auditing and transaction monitoring for anomalies. So these are the things that are coming out of 20 groups. And with that, I want to talk about your guest speaker, Todd Smith. Todd is an innovator. Todd is very compelling, very intelligent. And every time I pick up the phone and I talk to Todd, I learn something about that fits in the category of things I didn't know I didn't know. And I think he's going to be awesome for you guys in this next session. So without that, I want to introduce you to Todd. Let's have a big virtual round of applause for him, and let's see some gold emoji hands go up for him. Todd, over to you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Let me
Yeah.
go ahead and share my screen here. And let me share this. And here we go. Let me turn it into my mode here. 1 second. So do this and do full screen. Great. I hope everyone sees my screen now. Yes, good. Okay. We're going to talk a lot just what's coming to automotive in regard to AI. It's very interesting right now. You're seeing a lot around the edges about new tools. Maybe you've played already with voice tools and service. Maybe you're using it in your CRM to respond to inbound leads via text or email. All these generative AI tooling has been coming out, but there is a much deeper layer inside of what AI is ultimately going to do for us. So we'll kind of begin this journey by realizing everyone right now in this audience, you are the last generation to manage a human-only workforce. Let that sink in for a second. Think about that. From now on, you are going to work alongside of automation and machines to deliver all types of experiences to downstream consumers. I think Bruce mentioned a robot in service. There's only one use case, but there are so many that are applicable today to automotive and that are coming very near term and are already being put into work inside dealerships across the nation. So with that, I kind of break down the model into a world where we're going to enter that is, think about the leveraging capability of a human, where you can use AI as a co-pilot, co-partner, collaborator with you to ultimately do all types of operational tasks inside the store. And it is not far reaching that we will have a point where a manager will manage 10, 20, 30 of these agentic workers who are going to handle all sorts of applications for us with inside the dealership. So sales, it could be something as simple as, prepping and looking at all the inbound leads, prepping a list for each salesperson that's geared and to them specifically based on past customers who may have come back in market, or life-changing events for customers they should reach out to. Think about the aggregation of all of that data on an intelligence layer. And this is where we're heading right now. Service, another one, thinking about the ability to audit all the ROs, looking for other opportunities, or analyzing all your existing customers and their interaction with your service department through time. That leads for the AI to ultimately be able to really quickly decipher who may have a high defection rate or any of the underlying characteristics based on consumer behavior. The great thing about AI today is it's amazing at pattern matching. And what that means is it can spot things that humans can't with inside the data, and it does it very quickly. That's going to be the key that's going to transform our organizations. So other ones, operations, I think we're going to see AI absolutely infect, and I'll say this, infect all of our operational processes. And if you actually break a dealership down to what it is, it's about 265 different workflows to successfully operate a franchise dealership. Now with groups, there's additional workflows that are layered in on top of that for inter dealership communication, et cetera. But for a single store, it's about 265 to 300, just depends on the store and how the systems are set up and operated. So once you understand those operating systems, now we're starting to look for ways that we can insert AI into part or all of a single process. And that's kind of how you have to look at the lens of what AI is and can do for you. If you think you're just going to buy AI as a product, I think you'll be disappointed. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. But think about this as really being able to unlock a new force inside your organization. So let's just think about a couple things. It's 8 in the morning, what AI can and is already starting to do. Something as simple as looking for all the previous ROs for missed opportunities, something that we wished we had time and consistent capability to do, now will be done virtually automatic every single day without fail. Sales, the other one, just could be quick list or something as much as inventory. I know Bruce mentioned inventory, just scanning inventory to look how they're priced, the amount of VDPs views per piece of inventory per day compared to what's in the market for availability on same make, model, and trim. All this data can be collected, aggregated, consumed by the AI to give you insights that we just did not have before. And to me, this is that exciting point, walking into a dealership at 8:03 and get a different set of information, not our old standard reports with pivot tables and Excel. And gosh, I grew up in automotive retail, so I felt I'm done with Excel. I really think there's a world where the AI will help us understand what to do and then actually help us execute that. So I look at this as AI is really bad software, but it's great people. And what I mean by that, and this is very important, if you are treating it just like a tool, like buying a SaaS tool, it will not work like that. This is not what this is. But if you reframe your thinking of what AI is, that I'm hiring another human, an intern per se, and I'm going to have to work with that human or that AI to give it context, give it feedback, and give it continuous additional information and support, you're going to have much better outcomes versus thinking you're going to plug in an AI and it's just going to do magical things for your organization, because that's not how AI technology works at all. So I look at this, it's not software. We're really building a new employee class, this virtual employee that's going to be able to work relentlessly, never calling in sick, never asking for a pay raise. Well, maybe with token usage and complexity, maybe we have to pay it a little bit more. But it's not going to get tired. And the real key of this, all this new tribal information and knowledge that we're training into these virtual employees, it's yours forever. When you think about that, think about an average, like you have a great star sales manager or salesperson, and they leave you. Out the door walks that tribal knowledge, that skill, that experience. And now you're going to be able to consume this internally and build a much better long-term organization. So stacking your knowledge is going to be a new future way to really optimize your dealership. So I look at dealerships clearly two futures. You have to choose today. You either are going to take a path to own all your data, meaning extracting everything from your DMS, CRM, website analytics, all current vendors into a tool that you use and own, or you're going to only rely on vendors. And that means the vendors are going to control your AI future. And I doubt that is what you want to happen. I see that as a bad path compared to you onboarding and controlling your data as job one right now. Before even AI, you have to get your data right. And I look at that is because data is such a critical component. Think about it this way. If you train AI on bad data, what happens? Hallucinates or gives you bad answers. Things we don't want, especially when we're operating a multi-million-dollar business. And I know we can sit here and laugh that we don't trust our DMS reports or CRM reports or our vendors reports even. But we have to create that foundation, and that foundation is going to be within your data. So owning all your data, job one, and just understanding that once you have all the data in one spot, you constantly have to clean it and update it. Data is very fluid. Data changes all the time. Here's some just interesting stats. Email is about 2.5% decay rate per month, so over 30% a year. So if you think about that, if you only cleaned your CRM once a year, what does that look like? That means 30% plus of your records are bad, meaning they're probably bouncing, not being delivered, quiet delivered, or just suppressed by the ISPs. So home address is the same, where you're sending direct mail, or even vehicle ownership. Not uncommon, as you have an older DMS, that many of those people no longer own those cars. So with that in mind, these are things you constantly want to be looking at and having a system in back truly doing data hygiene. This is far beyond a deduping of data. So I thought I'd share with you 3 fun holes that AI will instantly is already fixing with inside the organization. We'll pop into one, just real-time intelligence. Like if I wanted to get more customer pay or ultimately convert more people out of my service drive into new car or used car transactions, show me all customers out of warranty, have high mileage, under 6 years old. If I were to ask this of you right now, you'd have to go into your system, pull multiple reports, try to stitch them together, and ultimately then do what I would consider data analysis of it. But the real reality is with AI, we can cut through this. It takes about 2 minutes now. Where this, if we set a task in a typical dealership, it's probably a 45-minute process to compile this or longer. So we're looking at how do we leverage up by once you have all your data organized, that we can start asking questions of it to give you outputs. Those outputs drive results all the time. So there's many ways once your data is organized that you can start looking at it where you've never been able to do it before. So another one we kind of liked was always about used stock, which are the hardest to retail in the next 30 days. So taking in how many are available in market. So understanding the context of vehicles around you for sale, understanding how many VDP views your particular vehicles are getting, and at what pacing, versus how these vehicles have sold in the past. I view the past as the least weighted measure because markets are pretty dynamic. They're always changing. Pricing's always changing. So when you think about pulling all these things together, you're really beginning to start looking at your business differently. You're looking at it now through a data lens. How can I leverage data to make much better decisions and be more efficient in not only maybe inventory management, but connecting with more customers or ultimately selling more cars? So other one was just which customers are likely to defect from service. So again, another super interesting one. This is found quickly by just analyzing previous patterns in your service, how customers have interacted with you, who's gone dormant, who stays active, what are they buying, how much are they spending. All this data can be crunched very quickly with machine learning and AI to give you a better insight into what exactly which customers have a high propensity to defect. And once you know that, you know to reach out to them with a unique message to them to keep them in play. So we think this real transformation will happen around less vendors, I know vendors was top of mind in our conversation. I believe a world of less vendors where most things are built off the dealer's data and you're creating a continuous intelligence loop. You're always going to have data flowing in organizationally. Your goal is to capture that data, tag it, index it, clean it, and then make it usable downstream. And to us, that's that new reality, right? That's all about building this new workforce that's data rich and data led to help us drive better outcomes organizationally. And I think for every dealer right now that's on our webinar today, how do we sell more cars? How do we service more cars? And how do we do it for less money? That begins with clean data and then training the AI to understand that data and to start allowing you to mine that data for better outcomes. So the foundation of data, it is complex. It's not as simple as deduping. I'll share you with a quick fun story. I was just at a IT20 group in Austin, and one of the members, I'll let him remain anonymous. We'll call him Mark for this discussion. Mark deduped and cleaned up their DMS. Well, in doing so, Mark and his dad share the same name. So it combined both records into one. Now, Mark has not owned 12 cars. His dad did. But now Mark has owned 12 cars. So Mark's dad has disappeared out of the data set. And now Mark holds all the data that was mutual between those two individuals. This is where deduping goes wrong for us. And what we need to do is take it that next step. Once we do that organization, we have to do what's real hygiene, and that's called data triangulation. You need 3 points of data to cohesively go, oh, this is who this person is, and this is the right information in regard to them. So once that happens, again, I don't want to go too deep into the data world, but this is the foundation of what will power AI and what does power good AI. It's clean data. And maybe you've already had an experience also with bad data organizationally. Maybe you've tried any of the latest voice tools for service. I've talked to multiple dealers that I've tried and shut them off quickly. They're shutting them off for a couple of reasons. One, if you put an AI application on top of a bad process, you're going to accelerate the bad process. Two, if you put AI on bad data, you're only going to get bad outputs. So these are two critical things. Think of workflows and think of data as the driver for successful AI in our future. And to me, the dealers that win, especially around AI, stop looking at AI as a product, start looking really as you're buying employees. You're going to train those employees. You're going to give them context. You're going to give them feedback. You're going to enable these to ask you questions that you can set them up for success. This is the power of where an agentic workforce is going to look like inside automotive. And to me, it really starts with data accuracy far before it starts with an AI feature inside your store. AI is here. It's absolutely useful, but it always begins with workflows and data. We can't get away from that. We're not going to bypass that and just hope the AI figures it all out. I could give you another fun case in point. So we can go into every dealership's data. Some dealerships call guests, some call them ups, some call them leads, some call them customers. Now, I just listed 4 different ways to say the same thing. You have to train the AI to understand that and what they mean in the context of your own business. If you don't do that, it has no way to be able to successfully interact with your guest, customer, lead, or any of the people who are coming into the dealership. So to me, a lot of this also is looking at it department by department. And breaking it down, because right now, this is the most important thing. Thinking about that entire workforce we're building of silent assistants that are really going to help transform us. This is impact one. Forget all the tools and widgets and automating everything up. This is where the leverage is. Giving your team the capability to 10x themselves. And I'll give you another insight into this. And I just wrote about this on LinkedIn, I think it was yesterday or today. I said, if you give AI to a really strong performer organizationally, he's going to perform 10x better. If you give it to a middle of the road performer, he's still going to 10x better, but he won't reach what the ultimate performer will. Same way as lifting weights. If you could lift 200 pounds max of a bench press and we AI'd you, you maybe could lift 1,000 pounds. But if you could only lift 100, most likely even with AI, you're probably only going to get to 500. And this context is very important as you understand your people of who to give AI access to, and ultimately, how you're going to drive performance and engagement organizationally. So the path forward is very easy organizationally. You start with one. Find one workflow. And you need to pick a workflow that it leans to something that could be agentically handled. I'm going to give you a good case one. One of our groups had a person named Justin. Justin's job was to go to each dealership, pull all their manifests for all their email marketing, text marketing, everything, and then try to match it to sales and service records every month for a lot of stores. He spent about 168 hours a month doing this. Now, that's a lot of time to get to an attribution. So now that dealer group has a UTM code, all their outbound email and texts are tracked. Because of that, you can see it instantly in the data. That's an agentic workflow that makes a lot of sense today. You can go in, replace this person, Justin got moved to do something else, and that highly repetitive work that when we miss days, it messes things up downstream, is fixed. So we look at starting very simple. Pick one workflow, one department, and look at something that's going to impact your organization to the highest level. Then learn from that. Add a second one, third, 5, 10, and you scale. This is the same way you build muscle, is the same way you're going to leverage AI organizationally. You're not going to buy a product outside and just plug it in and it's going to magically turn you into a bodybuilder. Just not how this works. So take this into consideration as you're looking and setting up your 2026. It's very important. Data first, map your workflows, and then figure what we can automate. So with that, that's it. That's all I have for today. I'm more than happy to share additional information and answer questions that we have.
Right on. Thank you so much, Todd. I'm going to leave the QR code up here for just another minute or so we can take pictures of that and find out ways that we can reach Todd for some more insight. So, big virtual round of applause for Todd.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
right
Thank you.
on.
Cool. You need
I'm
to
going
control
to
back.
bring my
Yeah.
screen back.
Yep. There you go.
Awesome. And again, thank you so much. I want to do a benefit recap before we go into questions, and just reel back in what we covered so far on this call. Um, First of all, excellent what Todd covered, but we're going to accelerate innovation through shared best practices. One thing I can tell you about AI in my relationship is I use it as my thought partner. I always come to it with something that I'm working on, whether it be large volumes of data like composite, and how could this be more compelling for my group? I don't come up with these ideas immediately myself. I bounce them off something. So AI becomes like my intern with me, and it comes back with ideas, and we bounce these things, we collaborate. So the same thing's going to happen in a 20 group. You're going to have accelerated innovation through sharing best practices and best ideas and proven practices with people and your peers. So another thing that happens when we're doing this is we talk about these things. They become outcome driven conversations and discussions, and then they lead to outcome driven commitments. And we have faster implementation of the things that we talk about, and they don't stall out. Efficiency gains. People are looking for ways to be more efficient so that they can have higher profitability. This is a revenue driven process here. Everybody that's talking to me is trying to figure out how can I turn this into developing more revenue? How can I track it? What are my benchmarks going to look like? And you're now going to be in an area where you can do that. You can be the benchmark. You can actually be the curve and stop reacting to it. So greater efficiency lowers costs and boosts margins. Absolutely. So strategic insights. We're going to have a deep bench of people like Todd and Tim Hayden and Brent Weiss. And these folks are going to come in and they're going to talk to us about where we need to pivot and where we need to focus our energies and the directions that AI are moving in. And we can stop taking the words of every vendor that walks through the door and we can make strategic decisions. Um, every company that I've talked to that has made some sort of a strategic decision to involve AI agents and become more agentic have first figured out what people, what departments, what jobs can actually be automated. So that's the recap. And with that, I'd like to open this up for questions for the NCM team, for Todd. And we can talk about the registration and what it's like to join this 20 group in the remaining spots that we have available. So, Corey, I know that you have some survey questions that came through to you, and maybe you could pose those to the to Todd and myself, um, and
Yeah,
to Jason.
absolutely. We had a couple questions come through on the chat, so I'll go ahead and read those out. This is coming from Joe. Vendors are all over us to sell products that use AI. Where do we start if we want to keep and use AI in-house?
Yeah, so this it's a great question, and you're right. Vendors, everybody has labeled themselves AI today. So I really think the number one place to start, pause on the AI. Focus on getting your data organized across your systems into something that you own. So I just commented on someone else. We like AWS to store data in. There's Azure, which is Microsoft owned. There's Google Cloud. The reality is you want all the data from your DMS, CRM, phone system, take your pick, any vendors. You want it pulled into something that you own. That is job one before you start even thinking about AI or adding vendors. Because the other side is the choice will be you either are going to give vendors access to your raw data into your DMS or CRM, where you're not going to have any control, no value to the insight, and you're just going to be then beholden to that vendor. Or if you control the data set, they're accessing your data set, that data will write back to your data set. Far better outcome long term for you.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
This is a question for Bruce. Who from the auto group or dealership should attend this 20 group?
Oh, that's a great question. It's one that we talked about um, in our first meetings that we had about moving this forward. So I'm going to tell you a quick story about a General Motors group that I am the moderator for. And so to answer your question first, I believe that the dealer should be involved initially so that he knows what's going on and how this is going to affect the overall nature of his business. Now to the story. I had a controller in the group that is the driver of everything AI and process. None of that happens without her. So somebody of that nature needs to be involved in the group. So it could be a dealer, and the guests could be a COO, it could be a chief technology officer, it could be your marketing director or somebody from your marketing team who's very savvy on data. It could be your general manager. But this controller is the person that I alluded to in my part of the presentation. Um, every group I moderate has at least an hour to 90 minutes of AI talk in it. And she created, through a large language model, how to do monthly parts inventories. And I'm talking bin counts, and they match things up. And Todd can jump back into this too in a minute. They match the numbers, and there's just no need now to have the manpower, counting it. It's taken care. You can maybe do that once a year, but that absolutely created so much buzz in the meeting. So to answer your question, dealers for sure, controllers, chief technology officers, marketing directors, general managers are the people that I think are going to drive the change.
Yeah, I agree. And I can give you another real world use case. All OEMs send us manifest lists, right? These are all VINs of people in your PMA with no PII attached, no personal, nothing but the VIN, right? So those, if you have all your data, you can upload that list, auto match your existing customers, and then, through different processes, try to uncover the ones who are not. But again, we see like those types of being able to leverage AI to quickly comb over our data as the faster point, where this list would have mostly in every dealership is a waste before, because you get that list and you're not going to go hand VIN by VIN in your DMS and try to figure out 200 people or 300 or whatever it is. So these are where automation are really going to kick in, just to help speed us up doing what we're already trying to do: sell more cars, service more cars, and do it for less money.
Yeah, the parts guy just wants to know what's on the shelf.
Exactly.
Perfect. This question is for Jason. How many spots are available within the group, and what is the capacity? And then Jason, if you could go ahead and kind of review what the process is and timeline for, um, signing up for the group, how much it costs, and all that stuff.
Absolutely. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you sound great.
All right. The group will have our typical group is maximum 25 members. The process will be at the end of this call, we'll be sending you out an application to fill out and to send back to me directly. Placement for the group, we want to make sure that there's no market conflict, right? The group will be $535 a month for the membership fee. The one-time startup fee will be $495, so that's a one-time fee. Each group is going to be like your normal NCM group. They will be self-governed. You will have executive chair committee in the group. There will be bylaws for each group. The groups will decide on where the meeting spots will be throughout the US. So just that normal process. But as the application comes in, we'll be placing you into the different groups based off of your location to make sure, once again, we don't have any market conflict.
Thank you for that.
Perfect. Another question came in on how are you using AI internally for data analytics reporting?
I'll start with that piece. Because it plays such an integral part of my job. I look at a composite, and I have a number of proprietary groups that I moderate over. And if you use, so I'm going to speak in auto terms here, if you use a multiple benchmark book and you have a store that has 10 brands, you have 10 columns wide with 10 different benchmarks. Now it's 20. And then you have a NCM benchmark plus a group average. You now have 22 columns wide by 57 rows deep. Just do the math. By 57 to 60 pages, you could end up with 90,000 calculations. And everybody looks to that left-hand side of the page, and that's where they want to be. But you have 57 lines and 20 columns. It's impossible to win every column. So I like to do things with my dealers where I re-rank the pages, and AI definitely helps me do that by disseminating the data. I have to be the subject matter expert, but it definitely helps me re-rank things and stay on top. And it's 100% my trusted thought partner. So it is definitely something that I use on a daily basis for large data sets. in keeping my groups engaged and always thinking, what's Bruce going to do next with the data? How is he going to rank this page? And my goal is to keep you thinking in areas where you could drive revenue.
Yeah, I use it all day. This, in fact, I did not say, but this presentation, so I have my own GPT built with about 6 million words that I've either written, spoke through the last few years. All that data is aggregated. I have 4 different agentic agents. The first one went in, outlined the deck. Second agent went in and edited it down. I call it the Steve Jobs presentation, less words on a slide. Third one actually built the prompt and sent it over to Gamma, which is what I used to build the deck. And then it was emailed to me overnight. So I sent it to Bruce this morning to make sure it was okay. But I had given him a different one yesterday
And
because
twice yesterday.
yeah, because based on data I received. So I feel like, look, we have to use these things ourselves, and we should be figuring out how to 10x our own personal capabilities, because then you see how to use this in other things you do. So for me, like even email, I don't like email. So I have Fixer tied into mine, Fixer AI, you can look it up. I spend probably 10 minutes a day on email. The rest is automated. Will even create my responses to people. So I've trained it through time. Again, none of this happens overnight. This takes time to build these systems. And this is why no matter what your position is in the store, you should be spending time learning and using these systems to do what you're trying to do. It'll make it much easier later to justify or understand what is being pitched to you when you are have deep understanding of using them personally and see their limitations and what they excel at.
I want to say one thing before we move on to the next question. The thing that helped me the best with AI was I moved away from even considering myself to be any sort of a power user and started moving myself into the category of being a power learner. And the more that I learned, the more exciting it got, and the more I learned how it could absolutely help me in my job and make me more efficient.
Yeah.
Perfect. A couple more questions came in about the 20 group. Will there be any Canadian groups? And then also, will this be mixed franchise, mixed industries, or will it just primarily be automotive?
Um, to start off with, let's pick those off one at a time. Will there be Canadian groups? There can be for sure. And we can also populate our groups now with Canadian folks that like our auto industry and our ag industry and our power sports industry. So we can definitely do that. The second part was, and Corey, please tell me if I miss anything. Will it be automotive concentric? Not necessarily. Right now, my job, I have agriculture. I have power sports. I have a marine group. I have a Kenworth group. I have automotive groups. And every single one of those talks equally about what AI can do for them. And they all have the same interest and concern. So I think these will be cross-pollinated. And I will tell you, my agricultural group is all over it. And I think that you would want someone like that in the room with you because they will do nothing but push you.
Perfect. And then
Hope that
could you
answered the
review,
question.
yes, could you review the dates of the tentative first meeting?
Yes. So let's go backwards here. And the dates are uh, tentative. And so I'm mindful when I came up with the dates. First of all, we'd like to have this in Kansas City because I feel like it's a great place where we can have the people that are helping us with the curriculum and the syllabus at close hands so that they can be a part of this and they can predict and help us develop the next meeting. So the first one would be we are looking to go for March the 10th and 11th. So I'm trying to mitigate things that go on in a dealership or of any kind, because I know the first of the month and the last of the month are very difficult. So we're going to aim for the middle, July 6th and 7th after the holiday, and November 9th and 10th, a long shot before the holiday.
Perfect. Another question about the AI 20 group. So are the integrations being discussed a product or service provided by NCM, or is the 20 group specifically to discuss the best vendors to provide these services?
Could you repeat that question over again so I don't answer it incorrectly? I would just like to have that with more clarity.
Yeah, absolutely. So are the integrations being discussed as a product or service provided by NCM, or is this 20 group specifically to discuss the best vendors to provide these services?
Um, well, a little bit of both. So we're going to be we're going to educate ourselves first. And this is not going to be a group where we're going to parade vendors through to just pitch you. That is not what this is going to be about. So some of the information will definitely be in the data. And our goal, by the way, is to have a composite and benchmarking for this so that you can track it. That will definitely be NCM specific. But you're also going to have developers come to the group, and you're going to have AI owners to the group that will help you figure out how to build your own systems. So there's going to be a little bit of both, and I hope that answered the question.
Perfect.
And if it
One more.
didn't, please recap it and send it through chat again, and I'll try to address it more clearly.
Yeah, absolutely. A question about I am interested in understanding how best to deploy AI in our service and sales appointment process, among other things. So I don't know if you can kind of discuss on or provide some information on how to deploy AI in service and sales, specifically appointment processes.
I would like to take a poke at this at the beginning and then turn some of it over to
Sure.
Todd.
Yeah.
There are definitely vendors right now and systems that are being tested. And I will put it to you this way. We have done competitions in 20 groups where half the room will call dealerships that do not have an AI scheduler and try to create an appointment through a live person. And then the other half of the room will call and try to create an appointment through um, dealerships that have an AI scheduler. And spoiler alert, unfortunately, the AI wins every time. And they put it through its paces. So there are definitely vendors out there for scheduling. They work great. And I'll tell you real quickly, it's not that human beings just categorically fumbled and lost it. They'd get busy and they do things. And probably the number one thing they did was put somebody on hold and forgot they were there and didn't come back. And that person gave up and hung up. So that's the way it's working in service right now. And Corey, could you repeat the other half of the question? Did you say there was in sales too?
Yeah.
Yeah, so sales appointment process.
Yeah, and there are definitely CRMs that have that involved. And my biggest takeaway there is as a platform over multiple rooftops before in sales and in training. The biggest thing I saw was people that fought against the AI agents and the AI entity that was within their CRM, and they didn't learn how to work well with it, and it became cumbersome for them. So they're definitely, and that agent could definitely set appointments and schedule on the sales side as well. And Todd, do you want to add to that a little bit?
Yeah, look, so again, we're seeing generative AI come into our space first. It's the lowest hanging fruit. You can put it like what's called a wrapper around ChatGPT and make it useful. So you may see it in tools like DriveCentric, the CRM, where they've wrapped around the AI is like a wrapper around. So it'll just respond. Text goes into it. text comes out of it, right? And it'll auto respond to a consumer via email or text, and that works. You do need some guardrails around that, especially if it's sharing any type of PII with the underlying. You don't want any PII to go to an underlying foundational model or engine. So you need what's called a RAG, retrieval augment generated engine that lives between. As long as that's in place, no harm, no foul. You'll maintain your strict data governance then. From the service side, I think to Bruce's point, I think, look, AI is good at scheduling a service appointment. Where AI falls down is where a majority of calls come in. They're not to schedule new service. They're to check the status of a car. And AI can't answer that. And this is a workflow problem, not a technology problem. Meaning many times in the DMS, no one's closing the RO or closing pieces of the RO that even a predictor could be built to determine how much is left to complete that transaction. So we're going to need to fix some processes first to truly leverage the power of AI, but it will also start augmenting and doing some basic services for us, like new appointments scheduling. Yes. Would I rather talk to an AI agent and get my appointment booked in 2 minutes, or fuddle through some online scheduler that asks me 17 questions, my blood type, how I drove my car over the last 6 months, and things I just can't answer? So I definitely think there's a balance there. And again, pick your battles, start with one, really get it working for you, and continue to grow from that.
Perfect. We'll take one more question, and then any questions that we haven't answered, we'll make sure to reach out to you through email and get your question answered. So the last one here for Bruce, what does success look like for this AI 20 group 1 year from now and also 5 years from now?
What does success look like?
Yes.
Success looks like to me that we become power learners and that we are shaping the way AI changes our industry instead of reacting to it. The best part of a 20 group to me is the collaboration around the table. And the first thing I think that's going to make this group successful is to eliminate terms like power users. In a typical 20 group, the wisdom is sitting around the table and the collaboration between the members. And my job is to suss out, which members are doing well and which members can help others that have areas of opportunity mitigate those struggles. The first thing that's going to happen in an AI 20 group is we're going to have to learn and raise the level of our knowledge up, and stop reacting to just vendors walking through and trying things, and then us developing our own models and our own native systems, and learning how it will work with our people instead of just doing knee-jerk reactions like, I'm going to replace this whole department. Sometimes that can't be done. And remember, AI is great at replicating things and doing repetitive things. It just doesn't innovate yet. So I see the success of this group in 1 year, raising the knowledge up and really understanding what we can do with agents and where we can use it and how we can use it. Year 2, this should be deeply rooted in our departments and our systems and our processes, and we should be figuring out how can our processes that we have spent years developing actually be managed and done and followed on a day-by-day basis. And in 5 years, I don't even know if I know how to answer that right now, because AI is changing so quickly. Something that's vexing me with AI right now is different in a month from now. So I envision AI in 5 years as, whoa, I just want to be a part of it. So I think me being interested and you being interested and wanting to shape it and change it's going to be what success looks like for me. So I hope that answered it. And with
Perfect.
that, I went completely out of sequence there to go back to those dates, but I want to thank you for joining the call today. And I want to thank everybody who gave us survey questions and were deeply interested in this and have been communicating with us about this and giving us good energy and motivation to start this. And I look forward to starting this off with you guys here soon. So with that, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Todd.